Check it out, it's Eating with Ernie. Willy baked chicken or Willy grilled steak. Show you how to chop berries, throw them in a shake. Cooking so easy, it's 1, 2, 3. Anyone can do it, so come with me. It's time to cook with the Ernie B.
Alright, hello, welcome to another episode of Eating with Ernie. We got our host, Ernie right here.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks, Brian. Everybody, my assistant. So today we got a good show for you. We're going to be making you guys some Philly cheesesteaks. And before we get on to the Philly cheesesteaks, actual preparing them and making them, I want to go over a little bit of the history. Now, there's this big debate on which type of Philly cheesesteak is a real cheesesteak. Because see, there's two different kinds. You got the one with just steak meat and some cheese whiz. It's just a basic cheese sauce. And then you got other people saying it's the steak meat with Swiss cheese and sauteed peppers and onions. So, we're going to make both of you, and then both of them for you guys, and you guys can decide which one's better. Here for you guys is we got the ingredients, and we went ahead and cut the peppers, mushrooms, and onions ahead of time for you. All you want to do is cut the peppers into thin strips. Just chop up the mushrooms, chop up the onions. Make sure they're not like little fine pieces, just little strips again. And then you're also going to need some Swiss cheese, and then also some milk and some cheddar cheese for the cheese whiz. You're also going to need some type of beef, and for the beef you can use any basic cut of meat. You just want to cut them into thin strips. We've already got those pre-cut, but it's not that hard. And you can also go ahead and buy cut pieces ahead of time if it makes it easier for you guys. But it's always better to use the fresh, and any piece of meat works. So the first thing we got to do is we got to get the cheese whiz ready for the first type. So Brian's going to go over here, and he's going to make the cheese whiz for you.
So we're going to start with some milk to make this cheese sauce. Alright, when this cheese sauce gets, the milk gets to boiling, you add the cheese and stir it up so it doesn't get all clumpy. The milk is boiling, we're going to start adding the cheese. Cheesy, cheesy. It ain't easy being cheesy.
Calm down, Cheeseburger Eddie over here. So, while Brian's getting this cheese sauce ready, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm going to do with the meat. Now, what I like to do with the meat is like I said, I already got it cut and everything. But what I did is I froze the meat a little bit to make it a little bit sturdy, so it was easier to cut, and I cut it into thin pieces like this. And there's always this big debate on Philly cheesesteaks on whether people like actual long, big pieces of steak, or if they like it cut up and chop like this. For you guys today, we're going to go ahead and cut it up and chop it up real nice and fine. We got the cheese sauce all ready to go, and the next thing we want to do is we're going to do with the vegetables. And like I said last episode, with your oil, you want to make sure your oil is hot and ready to go before you put anything in it. So we've got the peppers, the onions, and the mushrooms. The first thing you definitely want to put in is the mushrooms. Scratch that, the onions, because the onions will take the longest. So just throw them in there like this. You want to make sure you don't overcrowd your pan. I'm going to put quite a bit because I am making for a few people here, my crew and everyone else. So, and you just want to make sure you get your onions all nice and caramelized, and then right after the onions cook and get nice and soft, you want to add the peppers and do the same thing, and then lastly you add the mushrooms. Alright, the onions look pretty good now. Next thing we want to add is the peppers. Like I said, we got strips of peppers and we got green and red peppers. And the last thing we add are the mushrooms. So I'm going to get these mushrooms here. I'm going to get them all nice, and then get everything all cooked up nice and soft. And while these are cooking up, Brian's going to watch these, like he's going to babysit them, while I cook the meat. Brian's getting the vegetables, they're almost done. The cheese sauce looks like it's almost ready to go. The last part is the meat. So I got the Oil on high to hot. I'm just going to slide the meat in like this. As you can tell, my oil is kind of hot. I'm going to only put a little, not all of it, because I want to make sure I don't overcrowd the pan. And you just want to make sure you keep your meat moving before it doesn't get burnt. Top with a little bit of salt and pepper, and wait until it's done. So, on a Philly cheesesteak, you want to make sure you don't want sliced bread, you want rolls of bread, and we just bought normal hoagie buns. But what I like to do, I got my oven set to just a low temperature of 250. What you want to do is you want to slice your bread just like so, where it opens up a little bit. You want to put it in your oven for maybe 2 to 3 minutes, just let it get nice and crispy. Leave it open like that, and then once it's ready, we'll fill it with the rest of the steak. Alright, we've got all the ingredients ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the steak with the cheese whiz, and then I'm going to show you the steak without it. With the peppers and the Swiss cheese. So first you want to just get your cheese whiz, slap it on just like so. Cheese whiz came out really nice today. You want to get the meat, slap it on there real fast. That's a Philly cheese. And then the next one we got is going to be with the peppers. The first thing you want to do on this one, you want to get the meat first, I think. Put it on there. Then you want to grab your Swiss cheese, put it on top of the meat. You can also put the Swiss cheese on the bottom of the meat for it melts better, but I think it melts just fine this way. And then you want to top it with your peppers, your onions, your mushrooms, just like so. There you have it. The 2 different Philly cheeses. Now, I encourage you to try this at home, eat both of them, and decide which one you like better. I already know which one I'm eating. Brian's not getting any. Preston is going to have the other one I'm not eating. And we'll see you next week. So what happened here was Brian messed up the cheese whiz. When you do your cheese whiz, you want to make sure your milk boils, and then you want to make sure you add the cheese when it's hot. It got a little too hot, and then he cooled it down, and then we put the cheese in. So what Brian's going to do is he went to go buy some already made cheese whiz just for the show. But since I told you how to fix it, now you know. And Brian just was too embarrassed to admit that he messed up. So I just thought I would clear that up at the end of this episode. Thank you for watching Eating with Ernie, and we'll see you next week.